I was pastoring, this youth church. As a last year, our average attendance at best was 40 people. The hall made us feel like we are good. I entered into this year with my own personal agenda to increase times 10. It was my goal that by the end of the year, we were going to be 300. That was my goal. I had it in my heart. I was praying. I had a race set before me. I was running. Some things were slowing me down. I addressed them. And then I focused on the journey. Praying. I didn't lack the anointing of God. I didn't lack the utterance. People hear me, they say, who is this one? They marvel. Yeah, the church is not growing. They will come, they will leave. It's the same set of people. I got tired. I'm talking of the church I pastor. And then I slept in my house in June. Bam! I said, this is what you should do, this is what you should do, this is what you do. Pam. I mean, even today, before I came to church, they were already in my house collecting key for more chairs. I said, already church is full. That's how it keeps growing. Health workers training. And I said, it is light that makes you advance. You can have the power of the Spirit and not have the light for the next phase. There's something you must do. And if God doesn't show you that thing you should do, forget it. You will pray and be seeing pictures of tomorrow, and it will always be tomorrow when you get to tomorrow. Until you see what to do, you don't yet have a solution. I know what I'm telling you. And 1, 2, 3, before you know that same church of 30 people, I dare you go on the internet and see our pictures. And I say, this thing works. I was preaching, I said, if it can work in Benin City with Archbishop Ben's house, I can work in Buhari. If the principles are applied the same, the result will come out the same. Now I'm talking as pastor. I also found principles for my financial life. I found it. My life is not how it used to be last 2 months. I found some principles. Until God begins to shed light upon your path, you will be full of power and not make too much advance. Power opens doors. Wisdom keeps them open. Power gives you ability to make friends. Wisdom makes you keep them. You know the people that you should push away. With God, all things are possible. But it is when God gives us tokens of the things that make his works possible. When you don't have money, spend relationships. He's not teaching. You will learn that there are many things in the riches of God that you didn't know. When the devil wanted to kill you, he pushed some people away from your life. And you say, I don't need anybody. The fact that you don't need anybody is what kept you in one spot, because it was those people that were to take you to the next. Have you pursued all your helpers because you felt you have power? Some of the people that helped you most in this life are people that were not even spiritual. And I have found out that you can be full of power and lack that which makes for your advance. I know what I'm telling you when we say, pray, let the eyes of our understanding be enlightened. When we came to, I hope I'm not bothering you, we'll pray. We came to church. We will pray. If you enter our church, the place is vibrating. I say it wasn't growing. The same set of people cycle. The ministry I run, the same circle. I said, God, this is the end. I enter into June. I found some secret. I said in July, every week this will happen. Start applying it. I will come and say, he walk up. Next week, apply. He walk up. I mean, even before I came up, my phone, I just clicked on it. It's a message of, somehow it becomes a magnetic force, and if somebody tells that all is done by power is a lie. Portions of it are what? It is the principal thing. The principal thing. Open down my eyes that I will know what to do. Not everybody knows what to do. I've seen pastors that ran away. Yesterday they told us of a pastor that he will close church and run. Every week, 5,000 pastors resign from ministry. Every week, Google it. Every week, 5,000. Every month, 5,000 pastors resign. You know what? They don't lack power. They don't lack power. Some people in their place of work, they don't lack power. They don't lack skill, yet they will sack them. not growing properly, it's not cane that they use and train children. It's wisdom. He said, husbands, dwell with your wives with knowledge. You can and not know the right things to say. And before you know, you are stagnated for 10 years and you are speaking in tongues loud in those 10 years. And then you say, God is working on me. Bro, God actually is working on you. He's not working in you. If it was working in you, wisdom will prove it. Wisdom is known by her children. If after 5 years I will see the wisdom, it will be justified. Sit down. Let me tell you something. No, keep it going. Because we will soon see. As we trust and Daddy makes his way here, it's important that the people of God learn. With God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. And that statement was made to Mary. Mary said, how shall these things be? And he said, no, with men, these things are impossible. But with God, all things are possible. Pay attention to what I want to tell you just before. You know, Mary was not supposed to even give birth to Jesus. She came from the Levite clan. They had no business giving birth to Jesus. It wasn't the prophecy our grandfather gave. His name was Jacob. He said, the lawgiver will not depart from your feet until Shiloh comes. Judah told you the scepter is given. If a king will be born, it will be born from you. When Benjamin gave birth to a king, it was not accepted. David came in that order to fulfill that it was Judah's responsibility. Their bloodline had royalty in it. Mary came from Levi. What concerns Levi and the inheritance? The inheritance of kingship is not theirs. Mary had faith. But what gave her entrance into giving birth to Jesus was relationships. It was a relationship with Joseph that made her qualified to carry a child that she did not deserve. Because Joseph was the one from the clan of Judah. The fact that she was yoked with him, two have become one. Because of that, if she gave birth to Jesus, it equals that it was Joseph's tribe that produced him. So with God, all things are possible in that context means God linked her up to a proper relationship. The possibilities that happened there was a possibility that was kindled by... We have Christians that this thing called tongues can confuse you. They sweat for 10 hours. Go. Great Pastor Portray, he was speaking and he said, have you realized delegates are the ones who win the election? It's not you voting. It's the delegate from the party. Whoever they decided there is the person who will represent you, whether you like him or not. He said the winner of the election begins from there. So maybe Christians should begin to learn to be delegates. Because all of us will wait. When they have passed a policy in a National Assembly, we will now gather in our small caves and try to be changing it. Have you realized that we are chickens? God changed what they passed to law. Meanwhile, they didn't pray to effect it in law. They were alive and passed it. Why don't we have somebody on the inside? Do you understand that? Who makes the decision? So that we don't even need to stress. We'll just tell him we don't want that thing. Go and. Because what we have is power. But what we lack is wisdom. The penetrating ability of God into the system is when power is converted into wisdom. And many believers don't know the conversion rate. I learned it. I sat down and found out that many things are not difficult. It's actually possible. Like if you want to see the president in the next 20 minutes, it's possible. That's what we mean with God, all things. If you want to meet the president now, in 20 minutes, possible. But the possibility is only kindled by certain things that are put on ground. There are certain things you need to know. You make 2-3 phone calls, and next thing you find yourself right in the White House of the U.S. president. And because of that, you say all things are actually possible. All of us expect that an angel will just fly, lay hands on you, carry you from Nigeria and just arrive you at your destiny, and you say, I dreamt it, it happened. Blessed be the name of the Lord. It's high time we begin to revisit the matters of wisdom, the conversion of power. If you did basic physics, it teaches you, there are many science students here, that power in its raw state is not too useful. It must be what? Converted. Electric power is what powers sound. Is that not true? Powers light. But in its raw state, its power, if you touch it, it will shock your life. But it can never produce anything, because it has not yet been what? Converted. This speaker here, how he is converting the small sound, amplifying it. There's a conversion system inside that room that takes this and converts it to that. So everything you need is hidden in a conversion energy. And it is wisdom that converts power to a working principle. You can give tithes and it will yield a harvest. Many of you have experienced it many times. You will give dangerous seed and be dangerously broke. Meanwhile, they say it is given as the principle of the kingdom. Something is wrong somewhere. And I'm telling you that that thing is in the conversion rate. A sermon also desires wisdom for it to be converted. You must know that many things are not even said to you. And many of us swallow everything. You just swallow it and be moving like zombie. Everything, you just do it in. If somebody said, this is not the way, say, no. And we produce all manner of people in church. But we've not produced. Do you know what is sonship? Should they say that's our call? Abi? The call of the Christian is unto sonship. That's the height. We are not called to make heaven or anything. The goal is to become sons of God. And what manner of love has the Father given unto us that we should be called? So what is a son of God? Your definition of son of God is somebody God gave birth to. Let me define son of God. Son of God is somebody that represents God. That's what it means. A son of God is somebody mature that stands in a place, and whatever God would have done, is that not that he has taught us there many times? Whatever God would have done, he will do it. It means that he has to be put in a place to be able to represent. But we have plenty of people who are children. They are not representing God anywhere, but they are telling themselves they are sons. Is sonship a prayer? Sonship is something you become as a reason of maturity. You are in that place to represent. How come we have 10 years tongue-talking believers that don't represent God beyond the sphere of 2-3 people? But they pray 20 hours. Meanwhile, funny enough, Allah has representatives. If he wants to bomb a mosque now, he has people who volunteer. And they will just come up and bomb it and go to wherever they go to and move on. But if Jesus wants to save a soul, if Jesus wants to get something done, he doesn't have sons. This evening, as we trust God for the power of God to be revealed, one of the major things we'll be trusting is that conversion potential on the inside of us. As you receive strong impartations, I will tell you, last month's miracle experience, there were some impartations I received that played out. If you know me last month, I know me this month, I'm not the same. I learned some things. I took some things. I converted them. And I did business with the prophecies. This afternoon, we should trust God that our lives, they have not remained the same. There must be a testimony that we encounter the God of all possibilities. With that in our hearts, can we prepare the choir? With that in our hearts, I want your hunger this evening. Not for an excitement, the empowerment. Let the miracles happen. Let the impartations happen. Let the signs happen. Let me be the signboard of heaven that proves that what I heard actually